Has breaking broken the hobby? Why are the prices of wax so high? I'm going to discuss these topics that were brought up by Neo, followed up by Filmington and ERB Sports. In my video, I'm going to discuss why prices of wax are where they are today. And I'm going to tell you that the biggest cause to that is Panini. Panini and Fanatics relationship is why those prices are so high. And I'll get into that and explain that to you in a moment. We're also going to talk about what is the future of breaking? Is it good, bad? Will it be here? Is it going to go away? I mean, if it did break the hobby, can we get rid of it? I'll answer that question for you too. And I'll tell you what we need to make things better. I'll give you a solution to that as well. First of all, let me say, give you some market background, some factors that are going on right now in 2023. Let's call it 2024 because this is being made on December 17th. The market of collectors is more educated. Even if you're a new collector coming into the hobby, there are more resources to learn or get caught up to speed, or people you can find out what's going on. So the educational curve is faster. You can learn more. We have a more educated audience. At the same time, I'd argue in the last few years, the prices of autographs and game material has increased. And a lot of that is based on what we saw in the last few years. When jerseys were selling for so much, when autographs were selling for so much, people became to focus on that. Those are still the prized gems in the hobby: game-worn, game material, memorabilia, and autographs. The authentication behind that is what kind of fuels that side. But both those things we recognize have higher value today than they did years ago, which means their value has gone up. Like, people complain, oh, Panini doesn't put in good game relics anymore. Well, think about this. How expensive do you think it is for Panini to get a game relic, to get a game used jersey? These players know the value of their jersey. They're doing player swaps. They're selling their jerseys. They can auction them off. Why would they sell them to a manufacturer at pennies so they can cut them up and stick in their jersey so you get a game piece, game used patch? You see what I'm saying? Like, that has changed because, again, and more educated, more demand. And that's just at the core around the resources that are needed to put into products is my argument here. Okay. There's more money in the hobby today than ever before. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, the prices of cards are up. No, but there's more money. There's more businesses. There's more complementing pieces to it. There's authentication services. There's grading services. There's subbing services. There's meet your athlete in person services. There's so many more pieces to the hobby, more complex. There are more places taking a dollar out of the hobbyist budget, right? So that is, again, increasing the costs of these items. There's two areas in the hobby where money continues to go. Even in this down market, I know your Lucas aren't going up, your Zions aren't going up. A lot of you guys stuck in the 2020s, those cards aren't moving. But here's what is going up. New classes, new cards, and that's why you always see these new ones coming out and go, why are they paying this much for Caleb? Why are they? Because people chase new and they chase collectible. So those older, more collectible, more proven, whether it's a GOAT or a rare card or some super factor, whatever it might be, those continue to collect money. That's why we saw Babe Ruth collect 7.2 million. And that is why we continue to see new product like Wemby breaking prices and Bedard prices for his inserts. And these cards are selling for money more than they would have sold before. They're still doing very, very well. So that money is still strong in that hobby. Now, with all that being said, I think you can agree that there's demand, there's an aware consumer base that wants this stuff, but the cost of those items has gone up, right? To get a player to sit down and do 10,000 autographs isn't pennies anymore. It's going to cost you dollars. It's NIL. There's more competition. Is that fair? You see that all this is just market factors that have nothing to do with sports cards, nothing to do with the manufacturers, and that is driving up the cost to make your box. Fair? I think that's a pretty fair point. Please comment below. Now, let's talk about the market division now. Now you've got a problem between Topps and Panini. For years before, there was kind of a collective cooperation or competitiveness in the hobby. Today, there's a predatory market. Fanatics Topps wants to eat Panini's lunch, and Panini does not like that, and they don't want to get along, and they're not merging, they're not getting bought. It'd have to be a hostile takeover at this point if you guys are not paying attention. So that being the case, in my opinion, Panini's going to print and make as much money as they can. Now, they're going to do it in different ways, and let me give you an example. I assume in the past, Panini would go to the product team and go, hey, what's the NT? How many cases of NT you guys making this year? And they go, hey, we're making 10,000. Now I suspect they're going to the product team and telling them, hey, the sales team has sold 20,000 allocated cases, make 20,000 cases. Do you see the difference? Do you understand that? This is a very, very key difference, okay? The difference to that is on the Fanatics top side, they are still going back to their product team and going, how much sapphire of this product should we make? Can we make a sapphire of this? What is the market of this? Where are we going to cannibalize? What's the price point? I want to argue, I've been following all these products for years. Topps has actually, after COVID, kept their box prices, I'd say, almost under 300. Now the jumbos have been higher on certain products, but for the most part, it's a sweet spot around $250 for a box, where there's Sapphire, Hobby Box. They've got priceable products, right? They've got a bunch of weird stuff. They've also focused around the chrome. They've done mini releases like the Expectations, the Bob Ross product, the black and white. They've done these unique ones to give collectors short print runs. They have done a lot to focus on collectability and growing out their market. But in my opinion, it's being done from the business driving that, right? Looking at market demand. Panini's over here going, look, we only got so much time. Now, on top of that, you have autograph confusion. Who has which autograph? Which one's licensed? They're suing each other. All this going on, what is it doing? It's not scaring people off. Again, I go back, they're more educated. They know things cost more money. They know stuff's out there. They're more focused and more demand in certain areas. Let me give you an example. There was incredible demand for NT, National Treasures, Flawless, Prism, NBA and NFL, Optic, NBA and NFL, and Contenders, NBA and NFL. Those are probably the 5 staple, strong Panini products that have high demand. And if you look at the historical values of last rookie classes and prices that they're setting, those products are doing very, very well, still doing very well. And there's a lot of demand for those products. On the top side, they focused around the Chrome brand, right? Everything's chromed and sapphired, right? But they're also doing a good job, again, managing how they're getting that business out. Fanatics has decided they're going to change distribution, right? They're not going to rely on it as much. They're selling to the breakers directly with their breaker products. I've heard breakers. I'll give you an example. Mojo Breaks has said, we get more Topps product right now than we can Panini, because Topps is focused on, here are the breakers I'm giving you. If you're a Fanatics Live breaker, you probably have a discount. I don't know if it's called allocation or just a discount, but you're in, right? So let's say a case is $1,000. They're probably getting it $500. And I'm just giving you round ass numbers. I don't know that for an accurate number, but I just want you to understand right now, Fanatics, and I talk about this in my whiteboard session, is focusing on selling directly to the people who are consuming the product, breakers, people who want to buy the product, Montgomery Club members, individuals who get on their drops when they release product, and they're doing it at a controlled price, right? Topps comes out at $250 a box. Everybody stays around $250 until Topps stops selling it. And if it's a good product, it goes up. If it's a bad product, it goes down. This is called market pricing again. So Topps is actually feeding into the market pricing. They've squeezed the margin where they're probably selling a box to a distributor for $150 and they're releasing it at $220, so it's $70. I don't know. Again, I'm guessing those numbers. But my point is they are able to control that. At the same time, those people who want to buy the product and hold the product based on timing, because they understand the hobby has timing, they assume that risk for doing that, right? And I'm going to be fair with you. If a big box company wants to assume the risk of holding on to a product and waiting for the market to drive it up, that's their risk. Topps doesn't care, right? Panini doesn't care. They've sold their product. They've recognized their revenue. They are moving on. So again, the problem there is when these products get stuck in that distribution and get price control. So think about this. Where do you want Fanatics to sell their product? Do you want them to sell it to breakers who are consuming it, breaking, getting out to the market fast? Or do you want them to sell it to these big box companies who sit on the product, hold it, control it, price manipulate it, like has been happening in the past? Okay, as a consumer, I want to see it go through breakers. Even if I'm not buying in the breaks, I want breakers to eat. And I want them to eat up product as much as they can. Okay, I also want there to be transparency. How much are they charging for their breaks? So the market can demand, who am I buying my product from? Oh, this breaker is more expensive. That breaker's faster. This breaker ships this breaker does that. Let the market decide it. But the breaking is what consumes this. I don't want it sitting on the shelves of some lazy person who's just manipulating the market. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, let's go over to the Panini side real quickly. You're following me, guys. Panini today and always has used distribution to price their product. And in the past, it was kind of rude. You want NT, which is everybody wants? Well, you got to eat a whole shitload of hoops to get there. And this is pre-COVID. I can tell you there are a lot of big purchasers who did not like that model. Okay, now we are in the future. Panini knows their timeline is shortened, right? They know the end of their licensing is coming, whether they sell it or give it away or whatever the hell happens. They know that. Now they also know they still have the 2 most popular licenses with the NFL and NBA. That's clearly still theirs. Whether they have the autographs or not, guys, they have those licenses. And they are going to print those products I talked about, NT, Flawless, Prism, Optic, and Contenders. They are, what I said earlier, likely taking print-on-demand orders. So they're going out to their allocated breakers, their big box stores, and saying, how many cases of Prism do you want? And they go, well, I want 100 cases. How about 50? Sounds great to me. Now, again, they sell it to those breakers at an allocated price. And again, I'm going to quote Mojo Breaks on this. Mojo Breaks will tell you, as a breaker, they have a demand for, say, 1,000 cases of product. They know from years of history that people are going to break 100 cases of their product, but they only get 10 or 20 of that allocated from that nipple that Panini's got them on. Okay, so they get great margin on that one, but they have to go out to the secondary market to buy to meet their breaker demand. Now, here's the kicker, guys. Where do you think they're buying it from? They're buying it from those jerks, those big box stores who are sitting on their hoarded allocations of Panini, because Panini sold the product. Panini's moved on. Now, Panini's price fixing, I shouldn't say price fixing, price control, unlike suggesting a retail price, they use the Dutch oven auction to do that. When the Dutch oven auction goes off, you think in price the market level underneath that. My point is Panini is using that market space, right? The allocations, the distributions to people like, I'm not saying names, but that is controlling the market price. That is why a box of Prism is $900 for football. It's ridiculous. I'm sure the allocation price is probably closer to $300, maybe less. I don't know. Anybody knows? Please drop, correct me if I'm wrong. But they also know the market demand is there. I go back to you have an educated base. Okay, what I can tell you as a collector of football, autograph or not, Prism football will be highly in demand. And those rookies in the first year, 2 years will have high demand. Fast forward 3 or 4 years, like I said, a few of them will become collectible. Some of those items in that product will become collectible. Most of it will not. Okay. And that's another thing no one wants to tell you. All the influencers who want you to watch their channel and listen to their point of view, often their points of view, the way they don't have practical experience, right? It's because they are too struggling to keep revenue coming in. They are running out of free tickets, buying and watching their shows, right? So let me close with this. Breaking is how this hobby is going to grow. I know you don't want to hear that. Many people hate breaking. And here's something I found interesting. There are a lot of people out there who've never been in a break. They see it from a different perspective. And I don't want to encourage people. Like, I don't want to see everybody should try a break. No. That's just setting people up to be slaughtered. Breaking is it's complicated. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is a necessary part of this hobby. And there are those people who understand it, those people who enjoy it, whether it's the gambling side, the risk taker, the fool, the sharp, the fish. I don't know. There's lots of people in breaking, right? What I say is what you're going to see, again, a breaker can touch more people. Like Mama Breaks does a great job building a community. My buddy, Run Good Life, has done a great job building a community through breaking. Okay, there are pull wax. These guys have built, empires on breaking. I'll put it this way: your growth could never be equal in a local card store. I shouldn't say never. It's unlikely to be as fast in a local card store with a point of presence brick and mortar as it is online as a breaker. Right? Breaking is the future. So I can consume product. I can make content from the product. I can satisfy people. There's so many things you can do with breaking as far as its reach. Breaking is the future of this hobby. Now, what will be the challenge is regulation of breaking, right? If breaking were tomorrow be called gambling, legally called gambling, and states started to focus on it like they do TikTok and wanted to ban it or regulate it, that could hurt breaking a lot. What I recommend, and I've said this before, is breaking needs to be more self-regulated. It was at one time, it could do it again, and it will. There are many breakers out there who are good breakers. There are also breakers who are poor examples. And I'll say this too. I know so many breakers. I refer to them as kitchen breakers, and from the bottom of my heart, I love them because they are breaking because they really enjoy it. They're not making vast profits off it. If they get a box of NT, they're giving you the best price they can. If their prices are high, it's probably because they overpaid when they bought it, right? But they enjoy it, and they have little businesses, home mom and pop shops. Some have built little empires over the years. Okay, I support all those. But if you talk to those people, they will tell you what I'm telling you. It is not breakers who are fixing the prices. Breakers aren't the problem in the hobby, right? Breakers have created many great communities. Breakers look after each other. They take care of each other. And what I mean by take after their little communities, I don't mean they take care of each other, right? I don't want to misunderstand that. But I believe, again, breaking is the future of the hobby. We need more regulation, self-regulation. We need more transparency. Self-regulation, for example, Breaker Comp and their price transparency, showing what prices are of prices of breaks, is very, very, very important. I think it's a huge move. I also think that Fanatics, and I recommend Panini, not sell allocations to anyone who's doing repacks. Repacks take away from revenue that would go into consuming product, whether it's buying a box, a personal rip, a break, or whatever that might be. So I hope they look to regulate that as well. I also think you should have age controls on braking, maybe even throttle limits on expenses as well. But I will tell you guys, braking is the future. I love braking. I do not recommend braking to anybody and everybody. I'm happy to talk to about anybody about braking. And I hope this video, if you've made it this far, explains why wax prices are as high as they are.